Ever wondered why medieval beekeepers had special access to royal courts? From sweet honey for royal feasts to sacred beeswax for church candles, these skilled workers held the keys to one of the Middle Ages' most precious resources. In medieval times, honey wasn't just a sweet treat, it was literally worth its weight in gold. Before sugar became widely available in Europe, honey was the primary sweetener for everything from medicines to mead. Royal kitchens would pay top prices for the finest honey, using it to create elaborate desserts and preserve fruits. But honey's value went beyond its sweetness. It was one of the few natural preservatives available, helping food stay fresh longer. Doctors prescribed it as medicine, believing it could cure everything from sore throats to stomach problems. And here's something fascinating. Honey was so valuable that some medieval lords actually accepted it as payment for rent. Some monasteries even maintained their own apiaries, considering honey production a sacred duty. Finding wild bee colonies was an art that required incredible skill and knowledge. Medieval beekeepers, known as bee hunters, would watch for bees visiting flowers and track them back to their nests using a technique called bee lining. They'd catch a bee, mark it with flour, and time how long it took to return. This helped them calculate the distance to the hive. These hunters also listened for the distinct buzzing sounds that would echo through forest hollows and watched for bees entering tree cavities. Once found, they'd carefully mark these trees with their personal symbol, as medieval law often granted them exclusive rights to harvest from their discovered colonies. Some bee hunters became so skilled at finding wild hives that nobles would specifically request their services, offering special privileges and protection in return. Court beekeepers held a unique position in medieval society, often enjoying privileges that other craftsmen could only dream of. These skilled workers were responsible for producing not just honey, but also the prestigious drink of nobility, mead. The finest mead makers were so valued that they received special protection under royal law and sometimes even lived within castle walls. They worked closely with the royal brewers, carefully controlling fermentation to create the perfect balance of sweetness and alcohol. Their expertise was considered so crucial that some kingdoms had laws protecting beekeepers from military service, ensuring the continuous supply of honey and mead for royal tables. Many court beekeepers passed their positions down through generations, creating family dynasties that served royal households for centuries. When it came to royal healthcare, honey played a starring role in medieval medicine cabinets. Court physicians created special honey-based remedies exclusively for their royal patients. They mixed honey with exotic spices like cinnamon and saffron, believing these combinations could cure everything from common colds to serious illnesses. Royal apothecaries would store different types of honey, each thought to have unique healing properties. Spring honey was considered best for respiratory issues, while summer honey was preferred for digestive problems. These royal remedies were carefully guarded secrets, with some recipes being passed down only among court physicians. Kings and queens often traveled with personal honey supplies, considering them essential for maintaining their health away from home. Let's explore the fascinating tools and methods medieval beekeepers used to care for their precious colonies. Their main tools were surprisingly similar to what we use today. Smokers made from dried herbs and cloth to calm the bees, protective clothing woven from thick linen and specially designed knives for harvesting honeycombs. They kept bees in skeps, dome-shaped hives crafted from coiled straw or wicker, sealed with clay and cow dung. While these weren't as efficient as modern hives, skilled beekeepers knew exactly when to harvest by observing bee behavior and seasonal changes. They also developed clever techniques to prevent swarming, like creating artificial swarms by splitting colonies, and used specific herbs to keep their hives healthy. Medieval beekeepers were incredibly protective of their craft, treating their methods like precious family treasures. They developed their own secret language and symbols to record techniques, often using codes that only fellow guild members could understand. Knowledge was typically passed down from parent to child through careful apprenticeship, with each family adding their own special methods over generations. Some beekeeping families even created detailed grimoires, secret books filled with honey-making wisdom, weather predictions, and special remedies. These books were carefully guarded and rarely shared outside the family. The most successful beekeepers were known to perform special rituals before working with their hives, adding an air of mystery that helped protect their valuable trade secrets. Now let's step into the bustling medieval palace kitchens where honey transformed ordinary dishes into royal delicacies. Palace cooks used honey not just for sweetness, but as a status symbol. The more honey in a dish, the more prestigious it was considered. They created elaborate pastries drizzled with golden honey, glazed roasted meats with honey-based sauces, and even made decorative centerpieces from honey and spices. Special honey-sweetened wines were reserved for the highest-ranking guests, while honey-preserved fruits became prized gifts among nobility. The royal honey stores were kept under lock and key, with the head cook maintaining strict records of every drop used. It wasn't uncommon for palace kitchens to use several different types of honey in a single feast, each chosen for its distinct flavor and purpose. One of the beekeepers' most important roles was providing high-quality beeswax for church candles. The Catholic Church required pure beeswax candles for religious ceremonies. They believed beeswax symbolized Christ's purity, as bees were seen as virtuous creatures. Beekeepers developed special techniques to produce the whitest, cleanest wax possible. They would carefully filter it multiple times through cloth, bleach it in the sun, and sometimes add specific herbs to enhance its natural fragrance. The demand was enormous. A large cathedral could use thousands of candles annually. This made church-approved beekeepers incredibly valuable, and many received special blessings from local priests. Some monasteries even had their own bee yards, where monks worked alongside expert beekeepers to produce the finest wax for sacred purposes. Let's journey through a year in the life of a medieval beekeeper. Spring was a crucial time when they'd inspect hives after winter, checking for queen health and ensuring adequate honey stores. Summer meant peak honey flow. Beekeepers would wake before dawn to catch early swarms using special wooden boxes called swarm traps. Fall was harvest season, when they'd carefully select which honeycombs to take, leaving enough for the colony's winter survival. They'd mark their calendar by watching nature's signs, knowing that when elderflowers bloomed, the main honey flow wasn't far behind. Winter wasn't idle time either. They'd repair equipment, make new skeps, and protect hives from harsh weather using straw wrappings and special wind barriers. The taxation of honey was a fascinating aspect of medieval economics. Beekeepers had to pay their dues to the crown not just in coins, but often in honey and wax themselves. Each region had specific quotas. Some rulers demanded 1/10 of all honey produced, while others required fixed amounts based on hive numbers. Interestingly, skilled beekeepers could negotiate better terms, especially if they served multiple noble households. Some clever beekeepers even maintained extra tax hives specifically for meeting these royal obligations. The crown kept detailed records of honey payments with special officials called honey reeves, responsible for collecting and assessing the quality of honey tribute. Thanks for exploring the fascinating world of medieval beekeeping with us. From royal courts to sacred ceremonies, these skilled craftsmen shaped history in sweet ways. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to help others discover these amazing historical stories.